Greetings, dear friends. We are here. It is our intention to assist you in creating a new vision, a vision that inspires you to live and love on planet Earth. Like a priceless jewel buried in dark layers of soil and stone, Earth radiates her brilliant beauty into the caverns of space and time. We ask you, as seekers of the great stories, to proclaim an allegiance to Earth. Pledge the transformation of yourselves, which is the journey through light and dark, and honor Earth's momentous role in setting you free. Your task at this point in time is to activate the living library of Earth, to restore Earth and the human version of life to the forefront of creation. This is the journey you are on. We ask each of you to open your mind and heart, for within your body and Earth herself lie the answers to the great mysteries you seek. Although we appear to exist from without as a collective of Pleiadian energies calling to you from the future, we also exist within you. We are your ancestors existing within you as well as without. We are you on the golden spirals of time, cycling the epochs of existence, calling to you yourselves to reconsider all you thought holy. We ask you to reevaluate the purpose of your life, to redefine the forces that rule you, to resurrect the codes of consciousness stored in your being. It is time for you to reclaim your knowledge as a creator through thought, to recall the purpose of the living library of Earth, to restore beauty through value of life, and to remember who you are. Journey with us now through the mysteries of your world. Picture yourself on an excursion through the image of 12 and lay the concept of 12 out in your mind. Imagine yourself experiencing the numerical symbols of 1 through 12, as in the 12 months of a calendar, the 12 movements through the signs of the zodiac, or the 12 hours around the clock. And then add to these symbols your own personal avenue of 12. Imagine you have 12 strands of DNA, and that these activate and connect to your 12 chakras, which are energy doorways through which you access your spiritual heritage. Herein lies a key. Your challenge is to know yourself through your imagination, accessing your inner networks and bulletin boards of reality which are invisible to your naked eye. We are here for the game, the codes, and the master numbers. Our ancestors created events that presently stifle our development on the Pleiades, and as Pleiadians, we are seeking to discover the solutions to this grand dilemma, a predicament that you share with us. Our ancestors came from a universe that had completed itself and understood universally that it was Prime Creator, as the journey of Prime Creator in time. They came from a universe that had discovered its essence, creativity. By discovering that essence, they found out that they were creators. They came into the Pleiades because that star system would someday be able to help you at a most challenging time, a time when you would be ready to reconnect with Prime Creator. Our ancestors are also your ancestors. They gave their DNA to the original planners, and this DNA became part of the DNA of the human species. The plan was to create an intergalactic exchange center of information within your planet Earth. It was an extraordinary plan involving a beautiful place, for Earth is located on the fringe of one galactic system and is easily reached from other galaxies. It is our intention to assist you in coming to a greater understanding of the Pleiadian experiments that have been influencing Earth. During times of chaos and confusion, times when the human species was suppressed, various factions from our home system came to different locations around your planet and made very subtle openings. They worked with small clusters of consciousness to leave a glimmer of energy upon your planet. for many in the cosmos knew your planet was headed towards tremendous calamity and great suppression. Earth is in dire straits at this time, there is no doubt about it. Yet great opportunity lies within this state of confusion. We applaud your intentions and honor each of you for choosing yourself to go into the unknown. We honor you for being willing to look at the portions of yourself, female and male, that for all practical purposes you have not understood at all. It is time for each of you to be noticed in your own way, to magnify energies as they pass through you, and to make these energies available to multitudes of others as you casually pull light rays into your body and onto Earth. There are many families of consciousness that cluster together based upon evolution, intent, and a particular plan. The family of light to which you belong comes from such a lineage of consciousness. The family of light is a collection of entities coded to bring information to this planet. The coding is inside each individual. Once you are able to question and see beyond the current interpretation of reality, you are guided to create thought forms to fire the codings in others. Members of the family of light are able to integrate and survive reality shifts without destroying the bodies or life forces they occupy. As a member of the family of light, the ability to change reality exists innately inside you. You must create the belief system whereby you can do this, because your mind is structured to evolve and form your experience based on what you command, no matter what paradigm platform you spring from. The family of light acts as a stabilizing factor for dimensional shifts, and its members serve as carriers of a frequency being used to awaken many. Members of the family of light have pushed themselves past the laws of third-dimensional reality through to another dimension, so to speak, by uncovering the coding inside themselves. Many of you may have the feeling that you have done this before. You have. You lost your memory of this process because you came here to operate under the same laws as everyone else. When you incarnated into the earth plane, you received certain matched and paired recessive genes holding light codes that gave you the highest opportunity to develop psychic and intuitive abilities. In addition, these genes carried some memory that separated you from others, even though you could not name it. With these powers and talents, it has been your task to build on your life and allow the momentum to lead you into something different than most humans. As an extensive mutation occurs on the inside of humans, also stimulated from the outside by those who are assisting you in this genetic upliftment, you must act and integrate what is awakening within you. It's time for you to make a commitment to create joy, creativity, and love for yourself. Only then will you benefit others, for if you do not evolve yourself, you do not serve others. Humans are considered by some in this universe to be priceless, though in actuality you yourselves have no idea of the value stored in the human body. Your human body is the most valuable thing you will ever own and encounter. You are priceless. Your language is encoded, and sounds create reflected images that stimulate and structure consciousness. Spoken words carry different vibrations than written words. We like to play with both forms of language. When we speak, our intonation has its own signature to it, and we use subtle variances with emphasis on particular sounds. When you come into our vibration, you are getting many, many instructions, triggering layers and layers of knowledge. There are the words you hear that you think you understand, and there is the space that occurs between all the words, which is another teaching in and of itself. And then there are the sounds we make that echo in your cells, that tell you a Pleiadian story. The inner and the outer workings are coming together to speed up your evolution. We have suggested that approximately 500,000 years ago, Tumultuous events took place in this area of existence that affect your present-day Earth. To a large degree, Earth lost her sovereignty, and another force of rulership came in and claimed ownership to this prime hunk of real estate that you call home. These recently appointed godlike administrators have not always been the kindest and the most benevolent sorts. Earth was established billions of years ago for a purpose. She was to be an intergalactic exchange center of information, part of a vast library system where data from many, many galaxies was stored, a living library to be precise. The original planners of Earth were members of the family of light, beings who worked for and were associated with an aspect of consciousness called light. Light is information. Members of the family of light created the information center they had conceived. They designed a place where galaxies would contribute their information and would be able to participate and share their specific knowledge. The project of the living library on Earth was eventually fought over. Skirmishes took place, and Earth became a place of conflict and duality. When these skirmishes occurred, a certain group of entities fought in space and won the territory of Earth. These new owners wanted the native Earth species to remain unevolved and uninformed, so that the species would be easier to control. The original species of human creation experienced great destruction, and its DNA was scattered. What the gods now realize is that we are in a dilemma in the Pleiades. There is a tyranny that was let loose on Earth, and that tyranny has returned to us. Did you know that we made the tyranny, that we stripped you of your heritage of a fully functioning 12-stranded DNA? Do not be naive about Pleiadians, including us. Why do you think we are doing this healing work on your planet? Consider that perhaps we need you for our next phase of development. If we wish to grow, we must heal a past that we have been connected to. These last few years, you have been impulsed into diving more deeply into personal exploration, the meaning of identity, and connecting with your cosmic overview of life. Perhaps at first it seemed as if you were reaching far beyond what the parameters of civilization supported. As you met in quiet clusters everywhere, letting out your deepest yearnings and knowings and secrets that you had your whole life, you began to realize that perhaps you were not so far outside the parameters of civilization. Perhaps civilization was moving as you extended the boundaries. For the last 500,000 years, various civilizations on Earth have been seeded from different star systems that were part of the original library program. Each appeared at a different time period, penetrating a controlled force field that isolated Earth and kept it inaccessible as a library. These civilizations would flourish for 500 years, 5,000 years, 10,000 years. Then the forces that own the planet would somehow shoo them away or destroy them. These civilizations could not establish ownership here, so they left clues or steps to the ladder as part of the master plan. Egyptians, Incas, Balinese, Greeks, Tibetans, Sumerians, Native Americans, Maya, Aboriginals, and many, many other indigenous peoples have contributed keys of understanding, all pointing to the heavens. If present-day humans could read the steps and clues left by these cultures, they could once again liberate and own Earth. Over time, an idealized form of civilization was transduced here on Earth to meet the greatest needs of the people. The greatest teaching brought to the planet was the ideal that all humans are created in equality and that life is to be honored in all forms. Expand your concept of existence and imagine this. For an occupation, game masters orchestrate realities and then insert these realities as life forms onto different planets. Game masters are brilliant. Not only do they conceive of the game and create the entire blueprint for the civilization to flourish in, down to the finest artisans and beggars, they seed themselves into the civilization as well. They know their civilization is complete when their own identities merge with the civilization so that they are in the civilization and creating it at the same time. We, as Pleiadians, are a game master experiment. The game masters are formless, and yet they can overlay themselves and infuse themselves into many different shapes. When game masters create a particular blueprint for a civilization, it has many versions of itself and is expressed on many worlds and in many realities. Part of the game master's task is to juggle all of these realities at once and to learn from every single version of that blueprint. The blueprint is not simply anchored into one realm, it is anchored into many realms. We want to push your boundaries of identity. We want to confound what you believe reality is, because then you will be able to feel information from your higher self penetrate. We are here to help you dismantle the blueprint that you have been living within, and to give you suggestions of very general laws around which you can build new structures. The codes and master numbers we seek are geometric formulas and combinations of intelligence stored within the human. The human, of course, is an integral part of the design for the Living Library. Each creation in the Living Library has its purpose and has a great amount of data stored in it. Inside the human body are formulas to replicate other forms of intelligence throughout your universe. Feel that out. Inside the evolved 12-stranded human are formulas to create life for other forms of intelligence in this universe. You are a transducer of energy. Just as we transduce energies from one system of reality into yours, and our teachers and others transduce to us, you must take what you know and very gently transduce it, playfully, without fear, for Earth's inhabitants. Others will see that you are stable, grounded, and loving, and that you work in the name of peace. Stay clear on that. Always adhere to the concept of peace as you reach for something currently unknown, and make friends with energies whose looks could frighten others. You are doing very, very powerful work. It is our intention that those of you who know us and are familiar with our energies have a lighter step on the planet and are able to live the keys that we share with you. We give you keys straightforwardly, and we trick you. We always trick you. It is wise that you learn to be a little suspicious of us. If you are not, you are a fool. Learn to have skepticism with all things, and learn that sometimes we have great reason for what we do, even though perhaps it is not apparent to you at the time. All we do is create imagery from which you can evolve. Do not hang your hat on our story. Listen to the stories of everyone, and then make your own synthesis. Figure it out for yourself. Every teacher on the earth plane at this time is offering you a clue. We offer you one clue. We simply have our own snazzy way of doing it. We have our own personality and our own agenda, and we know how to stimulate you, to get you to move and be uplifted. We know how to set you free, and that is what we are after. It is our intention to return the value of human existence to the forefront of creation. We work with very ancient beings called the Keepers of Time, who steer your universe. The Keepers of Time are the original instigators, the innovators of the living libraries. They are creations of the Game Masters. You must be, and we use your human terms here, very highly evolved in order to make contact with the Keepers of Time. Like the yogis and shamans of your world, the Keepers of Time possess ambiguous personalities. They are enigmas. Although they are known and respected, none know where they dwell, how to contact them, or what they look like. It is our fortune to be able to work with the Keepers of Time. They are our teachers, as we are one set of your teachers. The Keepers of Time have tricked us into discovering the living libraries. They have tricked us as well into figuring out how to activate these libraries because the keepers of time do not want to lose their universe. The keepers of time do everything in their power not to lose this universe, because if your universe destroys itself before it completes, it will not fulfill its purpose. They see that it is headed towards destruction and separation, a separation that they, in fact, support. The separation that the keepers of time are concerned with is the separation of existing life forms from their essence. It is through this method that reptilian and other energies are creating tyranny. There are civilizations in space that are dying because they do not have access to the living library in the same way masses of humans are dying because you do not understand and have access to your own bodies. You are integral keys. The courage and faith that you have in yourselves will determine the course of experience for all of existence. As Earth moves into a place of balance and synchronistic union, she will create a geometric lineup with 11 other libraries that make up this library system. When this alignment takes place, the 12 libraries will create their own configuration of light that will reshape your universe, signaling connection, a certain victory, so to speak, for all of creation. You are linked to the 11 other libraries, and your task is to unite all 12, creating the spinning of the 12. Just as you are spinning 12 chakras to open and connect information inside yourselves, you're going to spin 12 libraries back into existence. The 12 strands of DNA and the 12 chakras have many parallel 12s that move with them. The story of 12 is quite profoundly expressed all over your planet. It is deeply embedded within the mass psyche of human consciousness and has been employed throughout time, in your terms, as a method to structure and convey information from one system to another. The story of 12 grounds the idea of meaningful existence into your world. The earliest use of the ancient teaching of 12 was the concept of the zodiac, a narrow belt 18 degrees wide on either side of the ecliptic, which is the apparent circular path of the sun around Earth. The zodiac was divided into 12 signs, with 12 houses, conveying knowledge about creation through the idea of interweaving and linking 12 significant parts. The zodiac was believed to be alive with memory, and it played an integral part in Sumerian, Hindu, Chinese, Egyptian, Chaldean, Greek, and Roman civilizations. Your 12 chakras are collections or pockets of energy where events can emerge. They hold memory and identity, and each corresponds to a strand of DNA. The first chakra stores your core identity. It deals with who you are and how you survive. It opens you to journey into yourself and the foundation of your core beliefs. The second chakra relates to creativity and sexuality. It opens the records of your beliefs and experiences in these areas. These first two chakras correspond with your traditional knowledge of 2 strands of DNA. The issues affiliated with identity, survival, sexuality, and creativity have challenged you for millennia. The third chakra relates to your solar plexus, your gut, so to speak. When open, it assists you to feel and intuit your way through life. In women, because of menstrual bleeding and childbirth, this area is often more active and regarded with great respect. Your will, power, and feelings lie here. The fourth chakra aligns with your heart, which, when opened, connects you to all of life. Compassion flows from the center, allowing you to understand the why and wherefore of what you perceive. The flow of compassion takes you beyond judgment, which acts as a trap to separate you. The fifth chakra is found in your throat, opening the great gift of vocal expression through which you speak your truth. The sixth chakra activates your third eye, stimulating your ability to see beyond the confines of 3D. The seventh chakra is at the crown of your head. When open, it connects and circulates spiritual energies to your cranial area. Once stimulated, the pineal and pituitary glands, as well as the hypothalamus, play active roles in linking you up. The 8th chakra is in close proximity to your physical body, anywhere from a few inches to a few feet above your head. It relates to the invisible realms outside your body. The 9th chakra is outside the Earth's atmosphere, perhaps as far away as your moon, connecting you as a steward and watcher of Earth. The 10th chakra reaches into your solar system, offering you access to all that is there. The 11th is a galactic chakra that offers information about your local stellar influences. The 12th chakra reaches outside your galaxy and gives you access to what is in the rest of the universe as you picture it. In general, you do not have access to information outside of your universe at this time because your body is not evolved enough to handle it. One day, you may evolve there. However, at this time, you have agreed to take on conscious evolution here on Earth, to become a radio station, broadcasting a tone or frequency that everyone else can handle. The Living Library is not simply a historical record. It is an entire library of knowledge from which anything can be created. There are formulas and blueprints stored in the life forms on Earth for all kinds of realities to be developed. Other libraries located in various sectors of the universe store their knowledge in light forms or collections of molecules that you would not even recognize. For each of the 12 centers, the Creator Gods designed a unique storage method for the knowledge. The intent is to protect the integrity of the libraries, each alive in its own way. Ideally, each of these 12 libraries creates an electromagnetic alliance which houses a stupendous shift in realization. The 12 together create the opportunity for a brand new harmonic for all of existence as you perceive it. Once this energetic geometric relationship is set into motion, the living libraries are designed to send forms of wave particles through space, creating a new method for your universe to access itself. When these universal highways are connected as grid lines, information and energy will suddenly open a system of existence that was never there before. In your reality, you are constructing information superhighways that broadcast what is occurring on Earth, sending it out as an energy shift everywhere. Eventually, you will realize this shift in your body as it truly becomes the superhighway to life. Many members of the family of light will become guides to those who will match you frequency for frequency and love for love. You will bring about a merging through love that will create a new ownership and direction of this place that you call Earth. Remember that Prime Creator is in all things, so part of the true purpose of the Living Library of Earth is to blend and merge consciousness so that you may experience and access the magnificent knowledge that is stored here. The key here is to love and value yourself and Earth. There are a number of corners on your planet where small clusters of civilizations hold part of the Living Library open by imbuing love into themselves and onto Earth. Earth then returns love to them, making life creative and sustaining. When the Living Library is activated and feeds information, cooperation, and love back into human stewards, things will become less of a struggle. As a matter of fact, when the Living Library is completely activated, you will be able to manifest, construct, and find out anything you want. The human nervous system and DNA structure are not evolved enough at this time to hold the exchange of information and frequency that would take place if the Living Library were to be completely activated. It would involve too drastic a change from how you are used to perceiving nature. When the Living Library is in full bloom, intelligence will speak from all parts of existence, and we mean speak. You will spend an hour communicating with one particular flower. During this time, you will be entranced by the knowledge you will discover in walking 3 feet. There will be a gradual adjustment within all living life forms so that each evolves and opens simultaneously, creating a matching and a meeting of vibration and consciousness. Remember, everything is alive. Animals are brilliant and are much smarter than humans. Many are now moving to this world of light, which is why there are so many so-called extinctions taking place. Many of these animals are very in tune with the quality of life. They know that the quality of life they desire cannot be found anymore in your global sphere, and therefore they are departing. The animals were given to you as companions upon this planet. It has been up to you whether you eat them or not. The animals do not object to being eaten if that adds to the quality of your life and to the quality of their lives. Animals were designed and created to be your companions, to occupy the space, to teach, show, and share the way with you. The animals are a biogenetic creation based upon genes that were gathered from many different solar systems and planets. Their creation allows representatives from those systems to have a genetic link with Earth, and therefore the ability to peer into and broadcast into this world. This facet of creation has never really been understood. Each species serves a purpose for you. Cockroaches that are overrunning your life may have to do with issues that you are not facing but are attempting to come to the surface. They are quite a hardy species and have survived many a shift of energy, learning to transmute toxins over and over again. They are here to remind you to look at that which is not necessarily dressed in its own finery, that which is inside yourself that needs to come out. Plants grown in a toxic-free, loving environment, nurtured and spoken to, send out a response to that treatment. The plants and trees outside the house want the same thing. So do the plants in the field next door. They want the same love, and they bend and move in the direction of love being expressed. There are plants that, when ingested, connect you to other forms of self and other forms of consciousness. The whole concept of altering your consciousness through plants has been given an unfavorable name in your Western world, associated with what you call drugs. In many sacred ceremonies and rituals, it is understood that certain parts of the plants of the living library are ingested so that you may further understand the living library. So, if you would, open your mind to the idea that Earth grows things that allow you to understand her in greater detail. Many of the substances that your Western world could benefit from exist within the plant kingdom. Sometimes antennae of beetles and bark or roots from trees hold keys used to balance, heal, and bring the human body into a state of higher consciousness. All things are here for a purpose, and when they are explored by humans, they give back and gift humans. Love is a frequency, and light is a frequency. They both exist as electromagnetic broadcastings of energy. The whole planet is a living library that can be activated by adjusting the human genetic structure. This is so because you as humans are the keys to the living library, and emotions are what allow you to read the information. Those who own your planet and would claim to be the gods in charge here are learning about love. Throughout historical time periods, the love frequency was held by different civilizations. For periods of time, Native Americans held a love frequency, and the living library was open to certain degrees throughout numerous native and indigenous cultures. When their time of stewardship was complete, the frequency was transferred to other places. There have been many experiments from the Pleiadian system sent here to imbue the love frequency onto the planet and to keep it glimmering. On the Pleiades, there is a huge difference that is being made through all of this work that you do. We want you to comprehend that. This is an exchange, not a one-sided event. It is open-ended. The changes that are evident in your lives have corresponding effects elsewhere as a result of your clear intent and investment of energy. It is our intention and deepest desire that you live to see and feel these effects, to know your multidimensional selves as spanning the worlds of both Earth and the Pleiades. We are the intermediaries, those who open the gates, make introductions, and show the way. A gigantic force of intelligence awaits, stating, "We want to meet the humans. We want to work with them. We want to be involved with this project." And we have said, "Hold up. You can't flood into their lives because they are fragile. You must be patient until they get to the place where it will be easy for you to meet." We want to assist you in redreaming the living library, making it into a new place with a new form of vitality. There are a few places where the living library is already activated. It is not just that the land itself is alive, it is necessary that human consciousness translate and work with the aliveness. That is what makes the living library, because it is through you that the living library is accessed. A living library without humans is incomplete. You are the essential component within the living library. We would like each of you, as you walk on earth, to speak to the blades of grass, the grains of sand, the petals of flowers, the butterflies, the insects, the ants, the birds, the bees, the ferns, the leaves, the drops of water, the dew, and to state your presence. State, "I am here. It is my intention for you to release to me what knowledge has been stored within you as a living form. I am now here to receive it, to translate it, to understand it, and then to transduce it out to the rest of the planet. I am desiring to activate the living library of this planet." We would like that to be your living meditation and intention. Allow the land, the living library that is alive with the love frequency, to move into your body. Earth is alive and holds the knowledge you seek, and your consciousness affects what Earth reveals. All people who penetrate and discover the realms of the unknown and the domains of the mystics have unique experiences and interpretations of reality. Humankind is coded, and as you evolve, you follow a pattern. Your blueprint leads you into a concealed library of knowledge within you. The gods who formed Earth planted devices called chronometers that measure the evolution of human consciousness. When enough people awaken and trigger the chronometers, new data is opened on the planet. The mass consciousness is suddenly opened because enough people on the planet are able to follow their blueprints and respond. When you visit ancient sacred sites that you call power places, you experience electromagnetic formulas for higher consciousness. You often pick up what you left there thousands of years ago for you to reclaim. By journeying to these places, your body is exposed to these energies and accesses the blueprint along which you can evolve. The ancients built temples and megalithic structures in particular places to utilize the accumulation of energy in vortices. Each of these sites had a specialty. The great stone circle of Avebury in England was used as a dimensional doorway for various star systems, particularly Sirius, the Pleiades, and Arcturus. The stones were placed in a specific configuration that used light as a key to draw these stellar energies to Earth. Thus, an exchange of information was possible through a human-Earth stellar link-up. Such sites offered the energy of fertility, and couples would journey to make love at the sites in order to conceive, creating lives energized and characterized by the vortices. Other locations were designed as broadcasting stations, as calendars, or as oracles to read the future and expand reality. When you enter sacred sites and intentionally imagine your chakras as doorways of energy, opening to your personal memories, the sites become activated. Imagination is the most powerful force available to humankind. The ancients had the ability to feel the abundance of energy in these locales. They tapped into and used these enhanced places where lines of energy joined forces and there was a merging and meeting of dimensions and other worlds. If you never get to go to a sacred site and you spend time only in your backyard, you are not going to miss out. The intent to open your memory banks and to activate collective memory, plus your exposure to the frequency of materials and artifacts from others who have been to these places, are all you need to experience your own awakening of the energies. Since the early 1980s, crop circles have become conspicuously abundant in and around the Wiltshire and Salisbury Plain areas of Great Britain, where numerous stone megalithic structures remain to this day. Mysterious markings appear as if by magic in the grain fields throughout the English countryside. They are synchronistically aligned to the sacred sites of Stonehenge, Avebury, and Silbury Hill, all widely recognized as places of celestial attunement. Part of the purpose of the glyphs is to pave the way for the mass consciousness to grasp what is inconceivable at the present time. You are not alone. The complexities of the markings will become more pronounced as the glyphs accelerate your awareness of other life forms. Ancient prophecies speak of signs upon earth and signs in the sky. There is a plan within a plan within a plan. There are friends in the sky and beyond, orchestrating layers of influence over and above what you can conceive of now. There are combinations of forces within the crop circles, and you will see them as light geometry dancing around in the air. The glyphs create shifts that will bring data to you. Then your challenge is to comprehend this new knowledge and to have your feet on the ground and your head at the top of the universe, all at the same time. Can you hold that imagery? You are vast, and you are capable of connecting with the deepest cosmos and grounding it into the earth. Geometry and mathematics, coupled with planetary and star knowledge, are the basis for the construction of dimensional doorways. Knossos on the island of Crete, Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid, the Acropolis, Delphi, Machu Picchu, Tiwanaku, and many others serve as doorways to other dimensions. These structures, built through the use of sacred geometry, totally confound present-day science. There is a mental distortion that prevents geometric structures from anchoring themselves more permanently on this plane of existence. Because your human capabilities are incomplete as linked through your DNA, you cannot mentally assist a structure in maintaining itself into being. All influences, both inner and outer, must be factored in. The elements of earth, air, fire, and water are as crucial to consider as the element of human thought. Geometry conveys its own teaching as it manifests into physical form. Shape and size radiate the essence of sacred geometry, creating knowledge transmitted from dimension to dimension. Perhaps you do not realize that you yourselves have different physical shapes. For example, dolphins are another version of humans. Dolphins exist not only in water but on land and in the air. They exist in many dimensions at once. A joyous nature is one of their most outstanding characteristics. It arises from a very highly evolved consciousness that knows it is never destroyed. A consciousness that has a deep bonding with its human counterpart who has forgotten and believes that it is destroyed. Dolphins and whales are members of the family of light, and for eons they have carried frequencies from some of your ancient civilizations. The dolphins of your Atlantean culture were coded before the demise of that civilization and were given much information to retain and pass on genetically and telepathically. They are presently transmitting that information to the human species. Earth stores many remnants of civilizations, some of which spring from a point you would call the future. Your now can be seeded and influenced from many directions. Some of the so-called foundation stones of your current world beliefs are not remnants from the past. Distortions can be constructed in the future to plant in the now and appear as if they came from a point a long time ago. Planted artifacts can purposely divert you from understanding the identities of invisible rulers that you perhaps call gods. If you can reach the point of understanding that the material realm is a symbolic representation and not get lost in hoarding, then there are many magnificent artifacts that can reappear. Your planet has numerous changes to go through over the next 20 years, and these ancient artifacts, laden with coded knowledge, will begin to reemerge. At the end of these times, in December 2012, as decreed by the Mayan calendar, there will be an anchoring of many dimensions. This will reveal the mystery behind existence. It will be as if Earth suddenly blossoms overnight, even after some portions are seemingly destroyed. Tibetans understand many of Earth's cosmic keys. There is a portal in Tibet, a huge energetic opening. Portals are composed of quarters of time. The Tibetans, basically up until the 1950s, diligently maintained an energy doorway. Over hundreds of years, they have acted as guardians and emissaries for those who ventured through. The Tibetans have been working with extraterrestrials for eons. At one time, the region known as the Himalayas was at sea level. Under the mountains of Tibet, there are huge veins of gold and caves filled with crystals. There are artifacts stored there that indicate the ancientness of civilization. Included are many physical bodies that have been preserved. The Tibetans had a predilection for preservation just as the Egyptians did, only they had a different method involving gold. The Egyptians employed the mummification process, which involved memory from Atlantean times when people were rejuvenated and restored if their DNA was intact. Gold is part of what allows dimensional doorways to be opened. It anchors portals and brings about transmutation, and is reserved for more than costumes, crowns, masks, and jewelry. It holds the highest vibration and is a premier conductor of electrical current. When gold is stored or created in great abundance, light portals can be opened and access to other dimensions unfolds. Understanding the communication process, both inner and outer, is a key to a peaceful earth. The inner you communicates continuously with a you that can be called your higher self or your inner teacher. It is a version of you invisible to your current perceptions that nonetheless has a powerful influence. As your psychic awareness increases, it becomes easier to know what someone else is about because it is energized by their being. You are able to read energy as your communication skills expand to consider new ways in which to translate meaning. A form of communication that can free you from the traditional interpretations is toning, the process of allowing sound to move through you, playing you like an instrument. Toning is a key to releasing stored knowledge. It unlocks a doorway and allows information to flood into your body. In this age of information, you are steered away from the natural sources of gathering knowledge for yourself. You have been sold the idea that television is a great source of information. You damage your own consciousness and the potential that your consciousness has when you give over your time to television. You suppress your imagination and do not use one of the greatest gifts you possess. It will be understood centuries from now how in the later half of the 20th century people were induced into dazed states and made to behave, to be asleep, and to be sick through television. Reconsider what you've learned about life and choose to listen to nature's broadcast, the voice of Earth, as she speaks. You are on assignment throughout all of your days. It is what you have agreed to do as part of your essence. When you are on the journey to know yourself, there are many paradigms from which you will break free. These paradigms are like boundaries and fences that you have not realized surrounded you. for a grand enhancement of your identity and learn what it is to feel expanded, to experience yourself on many levels of perception. Most of all, learn what it is to trust the process. In your wildest dreaming, you cannot currently imagine where Earth is headed. The masses are entranced by a world of facts, encyclopedias, television, and newspapers, and the multidimensional anomalies have not yet penetrated your plane of existence too deeply. When they do, things beyond what you can conceive will begin to occur. As a journeying entity, you were called an impulse to explore Earth as a place within the solar system that serves to stage life and is a home for ancestral codes. Earth is a birth house where life is created and experienced. Recollect for a moment the idea that the game masters are parents of civilizations by means of conceptualization. They create and hold thought forms and then proceed to distribute untold plans to draw meaningful life into their creation. They experience the web of existence as a force and field of unlimited awareness that is intelligent and responding. Perhaps you are aware of those who watch over your home and experience it as a place to visit and play with reality. This is your recognition of yourself. You are becoming aware of yourself as a game master, experiencing Earth as a native within your own creation. Recollect the concept of the game masters creating civilizations, then becoming immersed within their own construct of reality, only to awaken to this knowledge. Earth, in terms of time, is quite ancient, and there are stories concerning her that have long been buried and hidden away. Sumerian records hold numerous keys for expanding an understanding of your ancestral lineage. The records maintain that for eons a caste of celestial characters with multiple agendas graced the stage of Earth.